What's going on? It's Colin Brown here from Business Credit Unlimited, and I'm back. So here with another sit down. Wanted to talk to y'all about something. The top 5 hacks that no longer work in 2025. And I'm doing this because you may be going through YouTube and you see different strategies on how to get business funding, and it could be outdated. It's a video that you're watching that was made 7 months ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever the case, on how to get business funding for your business. So you're trying to run up 50, 100, 150K plus 250K in business funding for your business, and you're looking for videos and things, and you may see some strategies that no longer work. So stick all the way through the end, because we're going to cover 5 different hacks, really 4 hacks that no longer work, and then one flat out lie that I have to address. I'm gonna say that to the end. Okay, I gotta talk about that one. But first things first, hack number one. Hack number one that I want to talk about, and I do have something here to share my screen with to show you different things, but I'm gonna just keep it on me for now. Hack number one: you can file a foreign entity if a bank isn't in your state. Sometimes this works, and a lot of times it does not. So the banks have changed up a lot. So a lot of people were doing this, and the banks just got hip to it. Okay, they got wise to it. And I want to talk about some particular banks, right? So banks in particular, that 2 banks that this is not going to work at is going to be Truist Bank and Citizens Bank. So if you're trying to get funding from Truist Bank, let me share my screen here for a second. Look at these banks right here, okay? Boom. Alabama, Arkansas, D.C., Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, and West Virginia. If your business, not just your business, but your LLC, or your business was not established, meaning your LLC that was incorporated, if it's not one of these states, and your personal home address is not in one of these states that I just listed, you are not eligible with funding with Truist Bank. Okay? And there is no way around that except for one thing. I'm gonna give you one thing. I'm gonna give you a workaround on it. But it's a very niche situation. But in general, for a foreign entity, you cannot file a foreign entity if your physical home address, your personal home address, and where your business was incorporated at are not both of them in one of these states here. Okay. So it's something to keep in mind, because again, a lot of times people are putting this information out here, and I don't have like a problem with people just like we trying to find a workaround, nothing like that. It's not like I'm just so by the books that I'm not trying to find a way to get you guys as much funding as possible, or other people should be doing the same. But my problem is when you have these large platforms, you got hundreds of thousands of subscribers on YouTube, you got hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram, and you telling people to do this and you haven't tried it yourself. You haven't actually tested to see if this works for a particular bank. So you could throw it out there and say, okay, you can file for an entity, or maybe file for an entity, but at least like test it yourself before you telling a bunch of people to do this. Like it amazes me to see some of the things that like people with major platforms, at least what I would consider to be a major platform, especially once you start seeing a certain amount, like what I would consider to be a major platform, it never ceases to amaze me, like the things that and the type of information that people put out there that just simply isn't true. And since most of the people watching it, they don't know any better because they're just trying to learn and grow themselves. They don't know, and it's just out there. And then I look at it like a client of mine will send me something, or I see it myself, and I'm like, wow, that's just straight up wrong. And then nobody's calling them out in the comments or anything. So it's kind of crazy. But either way, that one, it does not work. I won't say at all. It just didn't work in particular for these 2 banks. And then there's other banks as well. So you cannot just assume that's going to work. Like, for example, let's take a look at this. So this is proof. So I'm going to provide gonna provide receipts. I ain't gonna just say stuff. I'm gonna provide receipts. So if you look here on your screen, this is me actually emailing a business relationship manager that I have. So essentially, I was saying thanks. The client's name was John. John lives in New York, but his business is in Florida. So this is the actual business relationship manager. I blocked out the name, but I did leave at truist.com so you can see I'm just not throwing out a random email. This is actually coming from a business relationship manager that works for Truist. That's an official, email. So they said the business and owner have to live in our footprint. We can lend in it says we can. They actually meant to say we can't lend in NYC because there is no Truist in New York. There's one in New Jersey, but there isn't a Truist in New York. So basically, they were saying that the business being in Florida would have been fine if the client also lived in Florida. But since they live in New York, which is outside the footprint, businesses in Florida in the footprint has to be both. And again, they meant to say, I wish the typo wasn't there just in this case because it just so it flow a little bit better. But I promise you, that's why they said, unfortunately, literally, they meant to say we can't lend in New York for now, unfortunately. And I said I wasn't aware because I was not aware. Sorry, I wasn't aware of your game like that meme going around. I was not aware. I really thought that if one of those was true, you would still be fine at this time that I wrote this email. But yeah, now let's talk about a workaround because for all these hacks, I will provide some additional information. So for this, let me tell you, gosh, I shouldn't be giving you all this. I shouldn't be giving y'all this, but I'm gonna give it to you anyways. Okay, so look, there's only one example where this will work. If you have an ID, right, that is still in a state, because more times than not, it's going to be your personal home address that probably will get in the way because you can establish your business anywhere. But obviously, you don't have an ID and a personal home address that you can prove this in any state. So you could start the business in, Florida or whatever the case, incorporate it there, but then you may live in California, which there's no Truist in California. But if you're in a situation where you just moved recently from a state where there was a Truist, for example, I just used California. So say if me in Alabama, I just moved to California not too long ago, like a year ago or something like that, but I still have an ID. It has to be an eligible ID. It has to be an ID that's not expired. Say if that's my scenario, we have taken the ID that's still active from that state and use that so the business and the personal home address would be represented there, because a lot of times it's fair game because like you still live there or you have a property there or your parents live there. So you still have a primary residence there, but you just flown back and forth from somewhere, something like that. So that's the only workaround. But if you don't have an ID, then it won't work. And another thing is, like, people will say, okay, use a passport, as ID. That ain't gonna fly, y'all. It's just it's not gonna fly. Like most banks, maybe if you get a cool banker or relationship manager or something like that, but for the most part, they gonna want to see that ID, man. They not moving without the ID. So you can try passport all you want, but I'm telling you, for the most part, 9.9 times out of 10, you present a passport and not an ID, red flags are immediately up. Like, bankers don't really move like that. They not really trying to find hacks and ways around getting you funded because they work for that bank. Like, they have, certain liabilities and, responsibilities to keep. Like, they're not trying to get fired for mess around giving you a business credit card, right? So, like they ain't really trying to move like that for the most part. So you're not finna just, give somebody a passport and they, oh, well, I'm gonna just accept this. Like, no. I actually know in particular who be saying this, but I will not drop any names. I won't, but it's not a thing, bro. It's not. So uh just know it doesn't work, and that's the only workaround for it. And it's okay because in most states outside of like in Alaska, you're gonna have access to enough banks, and even then, it depends. But for the most part, if you're in a continental U.S., meaning the main, main landmass known as the United States, you probably will have enough banks to get access to. But if you're in like an Alaska or some of the other states that don't have as many options, then yeah, try to find some ways to get access to some more banks, some credit unions or whatever. But for the most part, just it ain't gonna work, and just stick to the banks that you have access to, and you should be fine. If you know what you're doing, you can get access. You can get money from any bank, any institution, any bank. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be the popular ones that people like me talk about on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. Like you could TikTok or whatever the case. Okay, hack number 2 that no longer works or is not as effective is building business credit through net 30s and expecting to get large amounts of funding. So this is one of those things. I'm labeling this as a hack, but to my knowledge, this has really never worked because look, first, banks don't particularly in particular require for you to have a business credit profile or business credit score to be approved for the most part. Now, there are some banks that do require a business credit score before they will approve you for funding within them. But for the most part, that's not the case. And even when that is the case, that doesn't mean that you have to do net 30s to build a business credit score. That's not the only way to build a business credit score. You could just apply and be approved for business credit products, and boom, now you can build a business credit score by taking care of your business there, meaning you apply for a business credit card, you're approved, it reports, you're making your payments on time, early, or whatever the case, then a lot of times you can build your business credit score like that. You can get your 80 payday score just like that. All right, you ain't got to have the net 30s and all that. Now, net 30s do not hurt you. I'm not saying it hurts you. All I'm saying is that a lot of information is out there. Like if you type in like business credit in YouTube, more than likely you're going to see somebody talking about net 30s. These are net 30s you need, building business credit, blah, blah, blah. But it can really hold you back from getting to funding faster if you're worried about this more than actually getting funded. Okay, so the ultimate way of building business credit is to apply for funding and be approved. Now, if you don't have the personal credit score to get approved for business funding, you got a brand new business, then I mean, I won't see anything wrong with this. Like you can do, some net 30s to establish a business credit profile while you're working on your personal credit, but never neglect your personal credit because you think that by building business credit, you're going to get access to, 100K plus in funding. It's not the case. That's a lie. It's a straight up lie. Do not believe it. Okay. I'm just telling you straight up so you'll know. Okay. I know the information is out there, but this is what I say. Okay. So here's my proof thing for this hack or thing that's just not true. All you got to do is go to a bank's website. Show me where they say you need tier 1 through 5 in business credit before you can apply and be approved with this institution. I want to see it. I've never seen it. I've been to many banks' websites, talked to many bankers from many different banks, and I've never seen that be a requirement. So just show me. You want to prove me wrong? Just show me that. Just show me where that is the case. Again, in particular, not a business credit score, because that's not the only way to build a business credit score. Okay. And there's other things you can do, but outside of net 30s, like nav.com, and there's other things you could do to build a business credit score. I'm not against it. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it because it is helpful. It helps. It's just mainly the secondary piece of information that banks use and not the primary. So they're not going to say, oh, you got a 600 plus credit score, but you got a 100 payday score. I'm going to go ahead and approve you because your business profile is strong. That's not normally going to be the case, especially with a brand new business. If you had a business 2+ years, you're generating a million plus in revenue, then yeah, you can get away with having a lower personal credit score and just relying on the business. But for the most part, that's not it's not gonna work. So hack number 4, okay, or 3, excuse me, 3. We on the third one. I want to talk about age corps, buying age corps to get access to more funding. So I see this all the time too, where someone will say, purchase an age corp to get access to more funding. And a lot of people sell age corps, and I have no problem with that necessarily. I don't. And there are some times where this really will help you for sure, and even help you to get access to more funding. But here's the thing that has to be said that I don't see anybody talking about. Let's read this. I'm gonna share my screen again. Let's read this. So if you see here on your screen, this is Chase's website, and this is concerning small business loans. So if you go to their website, you click in business, and then we go to small business loans. This is what you'll see currently at the time I'm recording this. And it says, we offer lump sum funding for your business. Get access to capital that can fund large investment projects to help fuel your business's growth. Choose from our 3 options. Now, here's the thing that I wanted to get to. Check this out. It says to be approved for loans and lines under $500,000, Chase requires that your business be at least 2 years old and under the same majority ownership for at least 2 years. So what does that mean? Decipher that for us, Colin. I got you. What this is saying is that even if you have an age corp, if you haven't had the age corp also for at least 2 years, because they're checking who has had majority ownership in the time that you've had it. So if you buy an age corp and try to take that to Chase to get access to the business loan, and you haven't had the age corp for 2 years, then boom, you don't qualify. Even though your age corp is 20 years, 10 years, or whatever, 5 years, whatever the case, it doesn't matter if you haven't been the majority owner also for at least 2 years. You see? Because it has to be under the same majority ownership for at least 2 years also. So an age corp also isn't always going to be the end all be all and going to not prevent you, but is going to essentially be a workaround for getting you access to funding. Because, and by the way, if you don't understand why I'm even bringing this up or why you would need this, well, most banks won't lend out a business line of credit and a business loan to a business owner that has not been in business for 2 years. That's not the case for every bank. But for the most part, if you're looking to get access to the prime products, meaning the best business lines of credit from the best institutions, the best business loans from the best institutions, you're typically going to want to have at least 2 years in business. Everything else is going to have a higher interest rate or something going on. But for the best products, you want to be 2+ years. So a lot of people will say, hey, I'm going to buy an age corp, meaning that's a business that's been aged, normally 2+ years. For it to make sense, I would do at least 2 years. So you buy that company, you swap ownership from whoever it is that was selling it to you. Now you have a corporation that has existed for 5 years, whatever the case is, right? And then you take that to go and get more funding. But again, as we see here with Chase, that's not going to work for them because they will check to see how long that you've been the majority owner of that company. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, again, a way around that is you're just simply going to have to go to a bank that does not require you to have a majority ownership for at least 2 years too as well. So I ain't knocking age corps or nothing like that. I'm just saying that you do have to be careful and have some type of discernment there. Now, hack number 4 that no longer works in 2025 is going to be applying online for funding with the multiple tabs open and try to click apply like in multiple tabs so that you can prevent the other bank from seeing the other bank's inquiry. Doesn't really work that well now. It's almost like, I don't know what type of technology they have. Maybe I can look into it, but I'm telling you, like, I tried this. It's been a while since I've done it. I used to do this, and you used to really teach it too, to be honest, because it used to work a lot better. But last time I tried it, nah, they saw that inquiry. So it's like it does not work. And I wouldn't really teach anybody to do that now anyways, for multiple reasons. Number one, if I'm applying for funding, I'm not going online for the most part. Now, again, there are some banks that I still apply for online, but I'm saying for the most part, I'm not going to do online when it comes to applying for funding because I'm either using a business relationship manager or I'm going to a banker. If you don't have a business relationship manager or access to one for the bank that you're applying for funding for, at least apply with a banker in person, something like that. It can be over the phone or whatever the case. I like to deal with people directly when it comes to this. But either way, for the most part, I'm not going to apply online. And even if I did, since I'm going to have a relationship with the bank that I'm applying for, also 9 times out of 10 more times than not, but not every single time. I'm not like if I apply online, I'm not applying for multiple banks at the same time. Like you guys gotta understand how inquiries work. Like sometimes y'all put too much emphasis on inquiries, and sometimes not enough. But then sometimes I see people just act like if they got 2 inquiries, they just can't apply for anything at all. Like inquiries can hold you back from getting approved. Inquiries can get you denied straight up. That is just how it works. Like if you go in with 12 inquiries to the wrong bank, you're done. It doesn't matter what else is going on. However, since you can remove inquiries, like it don't trip. You can get them removed and it's all good. So just keep that in mind too as well. You can remove inquiries. Sorry about that. You can remove inquiries, right? And as long as you come in with the least amount of inquiries as possible, like doing that all at the same time doesn't really benefit you to the most part. But again, I used to teach this. I think people are still teaching this, and I wouldn't really do it. And to explain this too, just a little bit further, what I mean is, again, say if you pulled up Chase, Bank of America, Truist, and I don't know, American Express, you pulled up 4 different tabs. You filled out all the applications from all 4 of those banks all the way into the end to where you pretty much one click away from applying. So you would do that, hit apply really quickly for all of them, so that way the other banks don't see. Like you're trying to apply so that the other banks don't see the inquiries because like you're doing it so quick, like boom, 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 to where the other banks don't see that inquiry, and that's not that's not gonna work. Now I don't know what type of technology they using, but they seen those inquiries quickly. Matter of fact, doing this could result in a denial because you going a little bit too fast and they see that you just applied for some, so that actually could go against you in your favor. Now, here's the one I've been wanting to get to. This is not really a hack. It's just a straight up lie. I can't believe people are even saying this. So it's not a hack. It's just a straight up lie. Number 5, the thing that's out there that's saying that banks are required by law to provide small businesses with 50 to 250K in funding without showing documentation. And normally it'll say all you basically need is an LLC and an EIN. Wow, this is so much BS. I don't even know where to begin. Like, guys, sometimes people will say, what you offer is too good to be true. Like, what's the catch? It's too good to be true? Not really. Like, having a 700 plus score is not something that everybody has or can achieve. So when you're applying for funding, I'm telling people straight up, you have to have, a certain personal profile in order for this to work. So that's your catch right there, is that you have to be qualified. Like to me, it would make more sense if you're hearing that and I'm just telling you, you could just be anybody off the streets. You have nothing going on, not a cent to your name, 400 credit score, and you can apply and get approved for 150K. To me, then I hear that and be like, whoa, what's the catch for that? But responsibly handling credit for years and then opening a business and applying and getting funded for it is not the craziest thing to me. But this is something you hear and it's too good to be true. Like, why would the banks be required by law to give you funding? Now, the the law that they use is right here. Let me show y'all. U.S. Code 15, U.S. Code Section 1691 is what they'll say, right? And I'm going to show a creator that I saw just here on TikTok. Maybe y'all can make out who this is, but I'm not really trying to put nobody out there because that's not really, I don't really like calling out people like in particular, like individually or nothing. But look what it says. It says here, banks up. Well, I just show more of it. Banks are required by law to provide small businesses 50 to 250K of funding with no documentation. All you basically need is an LLC and EIN, and I'll show you how to do the rest. But you keep scrolling. Yeah, you should keep scrolling because this is BS. This is nonsense. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. So again, they're saying that normally they say it's because of U.S. Code Section 1691. But all this law says is that a creditor cannot discriminate against any applicant. Okay. You see, based on race, color, religion, national origin, sex, marital status or age, so on and so forth, right? Or income, things like that. It just says that a bank cannot discriminate against you. It does not say that they are obligated to get you funding. I saw this out here before, and normally when I see stuff like that, I just be like, whatever. But a client asked me that, and it tripped me out because I'm like, yo, you really thought that was true? And not like on them. I'm not talking about my client. I'm just saying like, dang, people are really putting it out there so much to where people are actually thinking this is a thing, and it's not. It's a straight up lie. It's never worked. It's not a hack. It's not just information that only a certain amount of people know about. Again, all you got to do is just show me the law, and I believe you. Show me the proof that this is a thing. When you go through here, nothing on here says anything about a bank having to provide you with funding. Like, come on, man. Like, all you gotta do is just think about that for a second. Why would that even make sense? That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, a bank to be obligated to do so. That's crazy. It's just wild that somebody would even say something like that. So that's a straight up lie. I had to get to that. And again, I saw a lot of people. I saw it mainly on TikTok, but I also looked, and I've seen it on Instagram too as well. So if you see that, run away from that person now expeditiously. Just do it. Run away. Don't listen to any type of nonsense like that. Okay. I don't throw around the word scam lightly like a lot of people do. Everything's just a scam. It's just people don't like something or don't know about it. It's just a scam. I'm not that person. But this right here is scam likely vibes. If somebody says this and they're trying to lure you in, saying that banks are required to provide small businesses with funding, then with no docs, golly, then with no docs, that person may be trying to scam somebody, or they just that uninformed that they just don't know any better. But no, that's a lie. So that's my 5 hacks that no longer work in 2025, and really 4 hacks and a bonus number 1 that's never worked. So I'm just putting this information out here so you guys would know. Hopefully this kind of, goes to the top of the algorithm. So that way, if you're looking at some more outdated videos and you see one of these things, you won't try to apply it because it just doesn't work anymore. But that's pretty much it for now. Let me guys, I ended out. It's all good. You guys, let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about any of these things or any comments, concerns about anything else. Let me know. And make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe because there are more weekly funded videos coming your way all the way through this thing, man. Let's get it, y'all. Peace. Until the next time.